volunteers work with government to care for disadvantaged children in Huangmei. A volunteer in Xiamen dedicates herself to recycling due to her daughter's influence. Welcome to the Headlines. I'm Teresa. Thank you for joining us. In July, floods devastated Hubei's Huangmei County. Therefore, city volunteers visited Huangmei County as they deliver love in the winter. Let's join them there.
After the floods in July, Wuhan Tzu Chi volunteers made their 13th visit to Huangmei County. This time, besides visiting venues for sending care, volunteers focused on visiting disadvantaged children.
In our county, we have around 300 to 500 disadvantaged children. They are like orphans, but unable to receive care like orphans. This is because they have a parent without the ability to take care of them. There is currently no policy to take care of these children, so we call this group the group of disadvantaged children.
In the rain, volunteers set out to different locations. At Jia Peng's house, volunteers understood that his father passed away due to an illness, and his mother got into a car accident. He now lives with a 64-year-old grandmother. At a skip-generation family, Wang's family has both grandparents as farmers while doing part-time work. This is to save money for supporting their granddaughter. In the village, families like this are everywhere. While Wu family's father did part-time work, his right hand was taken away by high voltages. Unable to work, he could only stay at home. During the floods in July, the Jingsi aphorisms he received became a safe harbor for him. Volunteers visit households before the winter, letting guardians of disadvantaged children receive support and allowing children to be accompanied along the way.
In Qingdao of China, there's a sanitation worker who has to raise 2 children who are mentally challenged. When he went out to work, he locked them up in the house. As a result, they have not come into contact with the outside world for more than 10 years. City volunteers visit his family regularly and have cleaned up the house for them. They also brought the daughter downstairs so that she can take a look at the outside world.
邻居们都说10几年没有见过他了。也就是说，他可能在这个楼上已经待了10几年，没有踏出这一扇门。
那个老的不往那个的登个王子城了。
我们帮着女师兄说了。
这次还有这个大学生也来了7、8位。
我们都希望你的孩子都能健健康康。
Sanitation worker, the elderly father Wang Shancai, has 2 children who are mentally challenged. He has locked them up in a house for 10 years.
It is a total protection. It's like how parents worry when they go out. So he is afraid that the children will get hurt in nursing home or elsewhere. So she does not let them go out.
As his children has not contacted the outside world, they have empty looks and lost speaking ability. Volunteers have to persuade the daughter to get a haircut.
长得这个漂亮哎。
5 college students have taken up the challenge of cleaning the place, but they did not give up.
I seldom do household chores at home, but I did them at school. This is my first time coming to a family like this one. I had a deep impression. In the future, I will do my best to help people in need.
Every time when I go home to wash these items, I need to rest for 2 or 3 days before washing them. I need to overcome my obstacles. We know it is a difficult mission when we shoulder the responsibility, but when you are doing the work, you will forget about this.
After the house becomes clean, volunteers put on Jingsi aphorisms.
Jingsi aphorisms can be like light, bringing future and hope to this family. I hope that when they wake up every morning, they can see love and light from Tzu Chi.
慈济的爱和光。我们出去看看花，看看树，看看花，看看树。走吧。
For the daughter who has not left the house for 10 years, even the 3 leaves in her hands is something wonderful.
Maybe little things we see in life is something she has not come into contact with for the past more than 10 years. I believe that when we come every month, we can take a reading downstairs so she can feel nature scene and the changes of the 4 seasons, as well as love in this world.
Tzu Chi's home improvement plan has helped Mr. Zhen, who lives in Yunlin. He's a Tzu Chi care recipient who cannot work due to his lung-related illness. His family relies on his wife and son doing odd jobs. Since his house is old and needs repairs, Tzu Chi volunteers help him renovate his house. They have also installed range and a gas stove for Mr. Zhen. Volunteers put out spring couplets and speak good words to deliver blessings.
People who do good deeds will have a good offspring. Is that true?
Mr. Zhen, who's more than 60 years old, used to work in an iron factory. Since he had lung problems, he has not been working for a long time. His 50-year-old house has a lot of problems that he cannot handle.
The roof leaks and repairs are needed in the restroom. There is a lack of equipment in the kitchen. It is very crude.
My wife can do manual work, but I can't. My son works odd jobs and he only works occasionally.
Tzu Chi has helped with the renovation, giving the house a new look.
They bought stove and new range hood for me. In addition, they installed basin and hand railings in the bathroom. They have also renovated my mother's room. They painted the place that it looks new.
Volunteers have renovated Mr. Zhen's house, hoping that he and his family can live more safely and comfortably, starting a new chapter of their lives. During the pandemic, Philippine Tzu Chi Eye Center reopened under pandemic prevention measures. It helped patients suffering from eye disease. This story features 3 people connecting their stories together, creating a formula of love.
Philippines Tzu Chi Eye Center presents the formula of love. 68-year-old fisherman Randolfo Rojo had cataract since 2018. The high cost of surgery, which is $833 USD, is more than his income for 4 months. Originally, he was scheduled to receive a free surgery at the Tzu Chi Eye Center, but due to a pandemic, it was delayed. Now he is here to fulfill his dream.
I was just a bit emotional because I waited a year just to see again. To me, this is the greatest blessing.
3-year-old girl, Mary Emerlad, seems to be unhappy laying on her mother's shoulders, repetitively scratching her eyes due to a serious bacterial infection. The doctor spent a great deal trying to treat her.
After her eyes are cured, my daughter finally smiled like she did before. In the past, she cried and was naughty, but now she even has a better appetite.
Maria brought loads of masks to the Tzu Chi Eye Center, as these masks are handmade from her clean clothes. She wanted to say thanks to the medical staff for treating her eyes.
I told myself every time I come here to the clinic, I will have to bring my handmade to the medical staff because I want to thank them.
Among the stories shared, each story shows appreciation and care for one another.
In Indonesia, there's a 5-year-old girl who was born with multiple illnesses, including cataracts, hearing impairment, and heart problem. Her parents' saving could only pay for her cataract surgery fees. Therefore, her parents sought help from Tzu Chi. Tzu Chi volunteers helped the girl install a cochlear implant. In the future, Tzu Chi volunteers will also help the girl treat her heart problem. Clinging to her father, 5-year-old Kalika looks like a normal child. However, since her birth, her parents have been worried for her.
When the child was 1.5 months old, I noticed that there was a white embryo on her eyeballs. The doctors say it is because I had measles during pregnancy and she was infected. Then she was discovered to have problems with her ears and heart.
Kalika has been tormented by illness, including cataracts, hearing impairment, and heart abnormality. Her parents used their savings to help her undergo the cataract surgery. However, they cannot afford the other treatments.
Her parents had bought a hearing aid for her, but the effect was not obvious. Then the doctor suggested that she use a cochlear implant, so they sought help from Tzu Chi.
After installing cochlear implant, Kalika can hear her parents' voice. She's also learning to talk. Her mother's anxious mind has been calmed temporarily.
I want to become Tzu Chi's donating member because the donation to Tzu Chi will be used to help people in need. Today, they help my child. In the future, I want to help other children like Kalika.
Tzu Chi volunteers will continue to accompany Kalika and her family, hoping that she can grow up happily and enjoy good health. In Xiamen, China, there are 35 city recycling points and more than 300 recycling volunteers. Many volunteers started to do recycling due to the influence of their families. Chen Yuelian is one of them. Her daughter is a city volunteer. Chen used to dance and play mahjong, but now she seizes her time to do recycling. Emaciated 70-year-old Chen Yuelian posts a simple card and collects recyclables in the village every day.
This aunt is very hardworking. We have to respect her persistence. Sometimes at 12 or 1 in the morning, she also comes. Thus during the summer, she comes at 1 or 2 in the morning. That is hard work. Most young people cannot do that, really.
Chen's oldest daughter is a city volunteer who often does recycling at a recycling station. Chen has witnessed her daughter's change, so she started to do recycling in 2015.
Back then, we told my mom about what we are doing at Tzu Chi. I did not expect that he listened to our words. Then she used the times she spent to dance and play mahjong to collect the recyclables. Afterwards, people know that he's donating this to Tzu Chi to do good deeds. Many neighbors were inspired, and then they donated their recyclables.
When Chen first did recycling, it was very difficult since the villagers gossip about her intent, but she persevered in doing the right thing.
When I started collecting recyclables, a sanitation worker saw me carry 2 bags of recyclables. She said to me that I should be shamed. I told him, I'm not stealing from you. Why do you say that I should be ashamed? Then I showed him my Tzu Chi volunteer vest. After that, he stopped accosting me. My mother recognized the master's spirit, so she decided to volunteer. She kept doing recycling, just like master say, just do what is right. There is no need to say much. Just keep doing the work.
After 5 years, Chen's recycling path has been recognized by people. Currently, her neighbors and store owners donated recyclables to her. Schools also welcome her.
Everyone knows that she's doing a good deed. Everyone harbors love. People try to do their best to help out.
Chen, who was recognized as the village temple guardian by the villagers 30 years ago, will continue to safeguard the environment. In Hualien, city recycling volunteers go to Sook's place Taroko to collect recyclables every week. The volunteers also promote city's environmental protection concepts to the hotel staff. Let's take a look.
The volunteers are well equipped and ready to go. The mountain road is bumpy and dangerous. It takes nearly 2 hours to drive back and forth, but the volunteers do not feel tired. They have been doing this for 8 years. These recyclables are amount of trash in a hotel for a week. Volunteers work together to collect them to the Hualien recycling station to classify.
This trip is a long way, and because of the mountain road, there will be rockfall or danger. We feel that we are doing this to make the earth better.
是不可回收的，这是不可回收的。它那边是可回收的。Volunteers carefully explain various types of recycled materials and taught how to classify them correctly. The hotel staff recall all the details with their mobile phones.
我们借这个机会去教育他们，让他们有改善的空间。
We take this opportunity to educate them so that they can improve on recycling. We have been communicating with them. We seize the chance to educate them every week, with a hope to have a better environment when we go again.
我们去载的时候会有更好的那个环境。
No matter how far the route is, volunteers must take action to protect the earth and fulfill their mission.
In Malaysia, movement restriction orders have yet to end, and many large-scale outdoor activities have been banned. Residents in the suburban community of Kuala Lumpur have made good use of space and planted various potted plants on a balcony. Here's more.
Come, I will take you to see something. Come and follow me. Wow, with such a small apartment balcony, you can still grow fruits and vegetables.
With small tomatoes, long beans, and cucumbers, she turned her balcony into a vegetable garden in the sky and grew various vegetables.
This MCO, so it's hard for us to go out to buy, especially a fresh veggie. And I was thinking, since I have a balcony, I think I can make use of it. If I can do my own planting and I can eat more healthier.
What are you doing here?
Come here, I will show you something very special. See if it's real or fake.
Also because of the epidemic, Francis was among those who learned about farming. In addition to making good use of balcony space, he also maximized the resources in his home.
At first, we do the seedling. We use everything recycled. We can use styrofoam or we can use the eggs tray. When the seedling grows a bit bigger, like about 2 weeks, then I will transfer it to the Kebun community. I have a plot over there, so we will plant on the ground there.
Not only does it grow by itself, but it also invites the neighbors to participate. Now the open space behind the apartment parking lot has become another type of landscape.
Now we go to a home. On the street, we can see the sister and brother's home, and let's see what he grows.
Tam Kim Lun originally planned to build a pavilion in the courtyard, but he accidentally turned it into a small vegetable garden.
Here are peppers. Here are sweet pea leaves along with another variety. In a small space, there's a lot of things which makes life better.
Nowadays, managing the vegetable garden also allows him and his family a different kind of happiness.
We work together. Yes, me and Dad work together very well, grow vegetables. There's water below.
This wave of COVID has reduced the number of people leaving home and led many to live a simple life. The human touch is stronger. There is more time for dialogue with the earth.
Taiwan Film Institute tries their best in digital restoration, attempting to preserve historical memories. Digital restoration is about scanning the films digitally and fixing the films, but restoring 5 to 6 seconds of footage takes an entire day. Here's our report.
Every frame in the photographic film tells a story about memories amongst people. In Taiwan's case, we're looking at a society advancing from an agricultural society to an industrial society.
就是一个台湾社会从农业社会走进工业社会一个最好的影像的见证。
When you look at 800 heroes, you can feel the era for its technological advances. Sometimes when a film records Taipei's morning during the 1970s, Taipei in the 1970s is now preserved through film.
Movies lead us through a time machine. No one has ever thought that this fascinating technology that came into existence 100 years ago will be extinct during this generation, taken over by a digital trend.
The preference on digital films nowadays is that it's easier to store, it's light and easier to use.
Taiwan has a humid climate, so under this condition, it is relatively tough to preserve photographic films.
The documentary Archiving Time leads us to see the chemical effects that happens to photographic films under poor preserving environments. Around 18 to 22 degrees Celsius and a humidity of 55%. the photographic film may survive for 70 years, but when exposed to any condition that doesn't meet this requirement, the films will go sour and the images within it will tear and melt. Memories that are within the film will be gone forever.
Because of the photographic films aren't preserved correctly, the chemical effects that follows will tear the images or damage the film itself. So before restoring, the process of preservation is important.
Our institute has around 17,000 films in Chinese film category, and as of 2019, we have only digitalized 171 films with around 50 completed restoration.
Digital restorers are like magicians, since they make old films appear clearer frame by frame. Within a second, 24 frames of photographic film needs to be reviewed every frame. This step is necessary in recreating its original state. A 90-minute movie spawns 13,000 frames, presenting a giant puzzle.
When I was restoring the movie Central Market, there was a part where it's only a few seconds, but there were plenty of modes on the film. It's very hard to deal with modes because it's tough to remove, and I cannot use the previous frames as a reference. The color is also constantly changing. A few seconds of restoring takes about an entire day to complete, and sometimes when we output 4K, the rendering becomes slow.
The new digital films are all in 4K resolutions, in other words, the highest resolution possible. The restoration work caters to detail and originality. When scanning the photographic films, sometimes the video is unstable. So while restoring, the image has to be first stabilized, keeping the imagery within the frame, then removing spots automatically through computer programs. But when there is much motion, the computer generates more mistakes. Details that should be kept will be added as a mask layer by restorers, and then bit by bit manually editing the layers.
The character in Tarzan and the treasure is about to jump out, and if we use the function of spot removal, the spots on the character's clothes will be misjudged as a spot. So I've created a masking layer for him so that the computer will avoid editing this character.
Clearing out dirt, removing scratches, and finding the right colors for the video. Restorers said that the 10-minute film is the ideal length, so from this we can tell how much of a hassle it is to edit.
Over here, the vinegar-like smell of old films fulfill this space. These old movies are given new life through restoration, as it is a collection of history and memories shared amongst every Taiwanese citizen.
In Chile, Tzu Chi volunteers continue to visit homeless shelters to deliver supplies and provide love and care. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.